Okay. They are having trouble logging Councilman Montoya in on a new laptop, so we'll wait.
Okay.
Not first thing in the morning, huh? Wanna do that better, maybe 8:30?
Mr. Baqueta, while we wait, resolution 2147, is that not the same one that we looked at last time at 2144? Is it just corrections? No?
No, I think 2144 was a legislative appropriations. It included 40,000 for a dump truck, and this is the surplus monies.
Okay. Right, but we saw this before, right? Yeah, we saw it at last meeting.
For October?
In the minutes show, October 14th, the general fund had, no, 2,234,515 reserves that it will spend. And we had the list that it was spend. And then we had the ARPA money.
Okay. Yeah, then
We didn't.
This is now going to be a resolution going in front of the board on Wednesday.
Okay, and it has not been passed yet. Okay.
No.
Okay, because that was the list, I think, that
that we discussed.
Ms. Minus had asked to please keep us posted on how you, down the road on how that money's going out. So, okay. Gotcha.
Right, like maybe we can put on the agenda, let's say 6 months ago, there was also bars that were, I don't know if it was just a maintenance bar, but there was projects that were done back then. Did those ever get accomplished? Did we? And if we would see the expenditures, then we would tie them together. Because you have this resolution here, that resolution would tie, then you would see the expenditures going up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
This other way, we just see, okay, all this funding is coming through, but is the actual project being did it start? Did it not start? Did they reallocate the funds somewhere else?
Do you remember what the first resolution we saw?
I think it was 44 that had the legislative, it had the 3.5 million for Rodriguez Park on it.
Was that last month? The one that you guys said how you guys were going to spend all, there was like 3 columns.
We did discuss 2144. We did discuss 2144 last month.
And that's the one that had the 3.5 million for Rodriguez Park.
I believe that is the one, yes.
Yeah.
So that was just last month's.
Mm-hmm.
Approved by the council on October the 18th. So I think Dinah was referring to one that had passed prior. So maybe that's just something that we can do as we proceed, Mr. Baqueta, is show us, do you do actual budget versus actual on the bars, or just in the totals for each department?
The resolution is the entire bar. So
Right, but
it does
do
have,
you ever compare actuals to the bar separately from the entire budget?
no, once we submit the bar, it commingles the whole budget together. When,
Then next comes the expenditure, correct? Then
excuse
now
me?
you're ready to expend, now you're ready to pass, now you're ready to spend the money once
Yes, once it
Once
gets on
you
the
have
budget,
allocated-
it's up for grabs, yes.
once you have allocated the funds in the correct line item, now you're ready to create your requisition. See, that's the piece that I'm saying that we need to see, you know, the actual expense now going out.
Okay,
We've just seen all the new stuff coming in, but now we want to see
stuff going out.
Didn't we have another one for 13,000 on general fund parks?
That's part of the same one,
In October?
yeah. If I'm not mistaken. We have 2144. Yeah, 2144 had 13,361 on the parks. And if I'm not mistaken, that was for control valves. They wanted to replace some of the control valves at the parks, water valves. So I think that's already been spent and paid for, so I should be able to pull out that requisition and show it to you guys.
See, I think that's what Dinah's talking about, that once it's done, we can see what happened, how it happened, the whole, and everybody else can see that.
Yeah.
That way people can see how it works.
And you wouldn't have to do that. I don't think you'd have to do this manually. I think that possibly your software program could, you just give it a date that you want to see all expenditures from the month, from, let's say, October 1st through October 31st.
Hmm.
And it prints out every check that you that you paid out in accounts payable for all your expenditures. And we wouldn't be asking to see any of them because we would already have that data provided in this.
It still has not gotten paid. But there should be an encumbrance for it.
Here's a petty cash.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Still technically, he can't remember his password.
Okay.
So April, I guess he has his own laptop, so April went to go get it.
Okay.
So maybe he can log into.
Log into that one.
Give him- have
We're having technical difficulties getting Councilman Montoya online with the new laptop. So hold on.
Okay, you think he'd be offended if we started?
Maybe.
He said 10 minutes. If he's not there in 10 minutes.
Okay, they just brought his personal laptop, so
Okay.
maybe it'll work. Resolution 2144. It included legislative appropriations for Rodriguez Park, police vehicles, and 40,000 for a dump truck. Hold on. Finance Jesus. Okay. Okay, let me. Can you forward the link to the finance committee meeting to Leo? Thank you. Bye. So those are the Rodriguez Park, the police vehicles, and the maintenance vehicles. Those will be pretty easy to follow through as far as getting the requisitions in, the payments, and we actually see a deliverable because we'll see police cars and we'll see one dump truck show up at Public Works. So let me follow through. If I remember correctly, the dump truck might have gotten already encumbered.
Does your auditors review all those bars for dollars spent or random?
Well, they review all our bars because it has to tie to our budget at the end of the year. But they do random spotting on the expenditures. So
They just do a random sampling.
yeah,
It would be an overkill for them, and yet they
To
ask
do
for
everyone,
a
yeah.
lot. They do ask for a lot, but
even close. Budget remaining, budget available. Nope, it hasn't been encumbered. And I would have thought it was because I had Danny Goulet talking to me on Friday.
what about your requisition? Maybe you can go over the process of a requisition with us at some point.
Okay.
See what your limits are. And let's say this, were you looking for the police vehicles? Is that what you were looking for?
No, I was looking for the dump truck.
Okay, so a dump truck runs, I don't know, a dump truck could be anywhere from 50 to 150,000.
250 is ours.
Right. So how did you secure that that requisition, that purchase order? But I'm not sure if you said that it hasn't been encumbered yet, right?
No, not yet.
Did
But
it go out
I
for
had
bids
Danny
before we
Goulet
saw
in
it?
here discussing where he was going to get all the money because this is only 40,000. The rest
Hello,
of
can
it has
everybody
to
hear me?
come from the streets fund.
Yes, sir.
We can hear you, Michael.
Good afternoon, Mr. Montoya.
I'm in a meeting, Maria.
Good.
Can you hear us? Maybe not.
Hello?
I am muting myself, but the volume. Hello,
Hi.
Hello?
can everybody hear me?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Having taken difficulties over here. Thank you very much. Having technical difficulties over here trying to set up in the mayor's office. So they have the wrong laptop. So anyway, I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order, and I think it 2:20. And roll call, please.
Francina Martinez,
Present.
Dinah Minus,
Present.
Alan Franken,
Present?
Michael Montoya.
Present.
All
Next item-
present, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Franklin, you want to lead us?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible.
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Franklin. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of October the 28th, 2021. Did everybody get a chance to read them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of October 21st or 28th?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
First motion, Ms. Minus. Who else? Second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, all opposed? None? Motion passes. Approval of minutes. Public input, do we have any, Mr. Vaquero?
No public input.
Okay. Next item is item of discussion, items, resolution 21-41. Mr. Vaqueros?
Resolution 2147 is the surplus monies and the ARPA's monies that we're trying to get the council to approve so that we can submit it to DFA and have budget approval. Surplus was 2,234,515, and the ARPA funds was 1,208,223. There's a list on that spreadsheet.
Mr. Baqueta,
Yes, sir.
this is the list that you and Councilman Montoya did go through, Chairman Montoya, at our last meeting, correct? No differences or minor differences?
Minor.
Yeah, minor changes are, what are the minor changes? Because this looks exactly the same thing other than maybe the one-time pay.
Yeah, the one-time pay came out. I got to meet 247, but I'm thinking it was like 500,000 or 600,000 more than that. So 255 to be on the safe side. on the one-time pay. And that was, we decided to include, the 232 was full-time employees only as of that date that we ran the hire date. And by the time we were all said and done, it included everybody, part-time, probation period, employees, and even the contract employees, the lawyer, city manager, city clerk,
Everyone,
everyone.
every city employee. Any other questions? No questions? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 21-41.
Just point of order, Mr. Chairman, this would be for the committee to recommend approval.
This will be going on, I believe, on Wednesday's agenda, Mr. Vaquera?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But the motion would be for the committee to recommend approval, correct? Not to approve it. That's out of our purview.
yes, recommendation of approval.
I so move.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Francine. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes on resolution number 2147, Mr. Vaquera. Thank you. Item number B is October's finance report.
October's finance report starts with the general fund, revenues. Oh, this is not right. I don't have a percentage as far as revenues. I got 28% as far as expenditures. I've got a deficit in the surplus of 53,711. And on the enterprise fund, I got revenues at 27%, and I got expenditures at 21% with a surplus of 666,999. The rec department has revenues at 20%. I've got expenditures at 14% with a surplus of 81,349. And lodger's tax has revenue at 47%, expenditures at 24% with a surplus of 101,813. And that's the four items that get reported to the council. You would have September and August lodger's tax for comparison on the packet also.
And you also have August and September. August, September, and October. On the large tax to compare to.
Yes, on the lodger's tax, yes.
Okay. And I believe Mr. Vaqueras, if I'm not mistaken, the surplus for lodger's tax for August was 67, and then you had September 111, and in October you had 101. So really, in all reality, the total amount of lodging tax that we have right now is probably like 400,000 total balance.
It'll probably
Those
be more
totals would
than
be year
that
to date.
because if not mistaken, there was 750,000 on the trial balance.
But do you have any encumbrances towards that? That's in your trial balance though? Or would that show the encumbrance in the trial balance?
Not in the trial balance, it
Correct.
wouldn't. We've got 750,000 showing up on Tyler in cash. So part of that 101 surplus would be that 757.
So that's total for the year.
This 101 surplus is this fiscal year.
Correct.
Yes,
So the 700,000 that you're quoting to us is for year to date,
yes,
right, Mr. Montoya? That was your question.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that correct, Mr. Baquera?
yes, it is.
Okay. Thank
That's a
you.
lot.
Thank you.
Of course, you're not saying how much you have in encumbrances, right? We don't know
No.
what's tied to it.
Oh, we know for sure 21,000.
Yes.
That's a drop in the bucket.
That's what we approved for that downtown area Christmas shopping promotion advertising
Right, right.
this last council meeting.
Yeah.
But it is a drop in the bucket, but a big drop.
That's a nice war chest for our city to have going into, especially going into next tourist season.
Well, it's
Christmas and tourists is to promote our town and I hope promote the opening of our new golf course.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that are being involved in that. Mayor and council are finding, and city manager are finding ways to spend that money. And we're trying to see if we can acquire lodging tax funding for infrastructural projects. And that includes funding for some bathrooms, public bathrooms in the plaza area, Bridge Street area. Also, I don't know, I don't think we can use it for demolishing of that building on Moreno and South Pacific, but we do have other monies separate aside for that. And we're moving forward on that. We already got a price bid and the whole works. So, yeah, and then we allocated so much money for 4 different parks or playground equipment or canopies. So we're looking at using lodging tax for maybe if we get canopy on one park, maybe we can use it for the playground equipment. Because tourists do utilize public parks, you know. There's other things that we want to see if we can include a lodging tax, and that would be, yeah, again, promoting Las Vegas and businesses, plus maybe helping out the River Walk also on some kind of lodging tax for funding for that, because that will also acquire tourism to Las Vegas. Or once they're here, they'll visit the Riverwalk area. So, yeah.
Will that require a change in the ordinance to start using that money for other purposes or?
No, the ordinance is already in there where it says that it's basically used for publication or advertisements for lodging tax monies towards businesses or promoting Las Vegas. Mayor and council want to move forward in doing our own promoting within the city of Las Vegas. This way we capture everybody in general and not only a certain area of town. So, but yeah, no, the charter and the ordinance already requires us to spend so much money, city monies or Logistech's monies for infrastructure, and then the rest of it has to go towards promoting Las Vegas and our businesses. So, now the mayor also went ahead and mayor and council got a quarter page or half page ad on the Las Vegas Optic to let people know what's going on in City Hall, activities that are going in town, and more like a newsletter type that will be coming out, I believe, 3 times or 2 times a week for 3 weeks at a time or something like that. So we'll probably want to use some of this money for that too. So, but there's a bunch of other ideas on how to spend that money, and hopefully we'll move on it. And if this board has any, if this committee has any recommendations of something that you'd like to see in this community, we can use Logistech's money for. Bring it to my attention or Jesus's attention, and we'll put it on the agenda, and we'll act on it, and we'll make a recommendation to council, mayor and council. And that's from anything that we can use Logistech's money for, and that is on our city website. That information is on our city website, and you can go down. I think it's a 4 or 5 page document, I think, and you can see what we can use that for, that funding. And anybody can make a recommendation to mayor and council on how to spend it, whether it's training or advertisement of Las Vegas, commercials, whatever it might be. We've used some of it for bulletin boards, some for pamphlets, some for other stuff already this last year. But yeah, it's to promote our town.
The date of completion for the Bridge Street project here, Mr. Montoya,
What was that? I'm
the
sorry.
date of completion?
I believe that's January 15th,
Oh, wow.
and they're ahead of schedule, to my understanding. Yeah. That project was a project that had to be done. We acquired $1.3 million to do that job, and it had to be done someday. Yeah, and the time was never a perfect time, but that's how come we try and assist the businesses in all that downtown area with the $21,000 for promoting in Colorado and Socorro and different stations and so forth. So people know that we're still open, we're still in business, even though we have construction. And we've identified parking areas for the businesses and so forth. So just to try and help out. Whether it does or not, I guess we'll get to see. But the project is on schedule. Yeah, actually, it's a little bit ahead of schedule, I guess. But and then MHU decided to go ahead and repave the street on University, and there would have been a gap in between 12th Street and 11th Street, and we didn't want that gap, so the city went and paved that section of it too. So, and then we're acquiring the property there, and again at the Camino de las Escuelas, and we're making that wider. So, we're moving forward on a lot of little projects here and there. At the same time, our city manager is trying to acquire a listing. We already have a listing of streets that need to be redone and repaved. Every councilman has submitted their wish list on those streets. I submitted my top 3 streets in my ward. So we're looking at see if we can keep those companies here to do those other streets also and get a better price for a buck, since they're already here and we don't have to pay the mobilization fees, for the equipment. So we're working on that stuff too.
Which is your ward?
My ward is Ward 2, and that's from Mills Avenue. It used to be from Mills Avenue straight north to the county line by Williams,
Mhm.
but from 8th Street to Grand Avenue. But with this new redistricting that we did 2 weeks ago, it got chopped down to Christine Drive North. And, that new districting will be taking place as soon as voters vote on it in March. And we'll move forward, and there'll be different wards. We'll be letting people know. The county clerk, the city clerk will both be notifying the residents of what ward they were moved to or what ward they'd be voting in. But of course, you still have 2 voting places, and that would be East Las Vegas City Schools, Mike Moore Gym, and the other one at West Las Vegas Gym. So that one didn't change that much, or you're still voting the same place, but you'll be voting for different representation. Or if you're running for an office or a council or mayor office, that depends on where you fell on that redistricting. I had selected Plan A, which was the most simple one, and less movement and less work for our staff and so forth, but it didn't plan out. The recommendation of the committee was Plan C, and the mayor broke the tie, and he voted for Plan C. So that's what we move forward with.
Mr. Councilman,
Yes.
any funding available for the acequia between Bridge Street and Mills Avenue? Along the acequia, river, it used to be a river, right? I know this from Independence to Bridge Street, it's beautiful. Do you know if that's going to be in continuation? Is there a plan for that? Any discussion?
Yeah, the city of Las Vegas really doesn't have anything to do with the acequias. That's a different organization, and they own the rights to the acequias, and they're the ones that invest on the acequias. The only reason that we did what we did on Bridge Street is because it's right under the street, and we needed to jump that hook. So we had some piping that we had to run east and west, and the acequia was right there. So we had to go underneath the acequia. So it's either back to what it was or better. But we got our pipes in, our drainage pipes in, and our utilities underneath. But the rest of the acequia, all the way from Gainas, up in Gainas, all the way across town to Garita, or where it goes down there, and all that acequias belong to the owners, acequia owners. The city has no jurisdiction there. Leave it at that, because we are in litigation with the acequias, and we have been for 40 years.
Oh,
But it is beautiful. I mean, they keep them up to date, and they ask the legislature for monies every year for repairs and so forth. So that's where we're at. I had one more question, Mr. Vaquera. So again, I see a negative $53,711 on your budget here.
On the general fund?
Yeah, on the general fund, and we just started our budget. We're in July. We're already in a deficit here, and what's the reasoning for that?
The revenues are not all recorded by the time I have to prepare this report. If I was to update it as of right now, there would be no surplus, because they reconciled the majority of our bank statements last week. It's
Okay.
just a
So-
timing difference.
So is that going to be?
a continuation next month?
Yeah,
Yeah.
next month you'll see more revenue.
Right.
Hopefully you won't see more expenditures, and we'll end up with a surplus.
Because
Okay.
it's alarming.
Actually, that's what I was getting at, is that We don't
Where's
wanna-
the money?
We really
Yeah.
don't go there, down that road, every month,
Yes.
Either we cut back on spending or we get those revenues in, one or the other, but.
It
it-
just raises questions. So, yeah, next month, if we could get that resolved so that we don't see it again.
Okay.
Well, how many bank recs do you have that they have to do? I mean, I know because sometimes there's so many, and it
Like
takes a while to
20 for sure.
doing them by hand for sure.
Yeah.
Are you doing them through the system or is it?
Right now, we got somebody in training. Our accountant that can do this with her eyes closed. She's about to retire. So before she leaves, she's got to train. We have a new accountant on board, Eleanor Duran, and she is training on doing those reconciliations. When training is involved, there's a timing difference, and we couldn't get it all done by the time I had to submit this report to Cassandra.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, Mr. Baqueta, on the general fund, really the only one that seems out of line is the 1/8% infrastructure fund. Is that going to be in the 140,000 plus range for the year to date? Which would probably give us a surplus of, 80,000 or so, just that one fund.
Got one by itself. I'd have to research that 1/8 to see how far back it goes.
Last year at this time is 140,000. This year it's 17,000. That's the one that stands out as being maybe underreported, hopefully.
Yes,
That's part of our gross receipts tax.
yes, it is. It's 1/8 infrastructure. Our gross receipts tax gets broken down into all of these down here. From interstate telecom up through gross receipts tax 1.225. I will follow up and see where we have this spreadsheet that breaks it down for us. I'll ask my accountant to pull out that spreadsheet and I'll take a look at it. Make sure that we're good on that 1/8.
Okay.
That 148 that you see on your spreadsheet, that is the start of the monies coming in for online sales. In the past, the state used to keep it all, and now they're going to start trickling it down to the municipalities. And this month we got $148.
But you do have $250,000 budgeted, so
Yes.
hopefully that's going to start coming in pretty strong.
Yeah. Now with Christmas and all the holidays season, online sales.
Wow.
So, Mr. Vaqueras, I have another question for you.
Yes, sir.
If, on our city charter amendments, for this next election, we are, recommending a 5th councilman overall. Not particularly assigned to any ward, but he or she would represent the whole community at large position. So if in March, the voters decide that that's the way they don't want to go, where are you going to get that money from for that position? The other, just off the general fund off the top, or you have to, or because it hasn't been allocated in this last year's budget, and that would be another $10,000.
It's 10 grand. We will find it.
Yeah, through that, just cut off the top, the general fund.
Yeah.
Okay. Or for instance, I guess right now the attorney doesn't have an assistant or a secretary, so I guess that funding would be a savings, and we could use that for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All our vacancies are salary savings right now.
Okay, like economic development director or that one, for instance. Okay.
And the finance doesn't have
Has a vacant position.
yes.
Yes. Okay. Is there anything else that we ought to know, Mr. Vaqueros, on this budget report? We're headed in the wrong way, or we should make other corrections other than what we did already?
I think we're good.
Okay. Because you're not gonna see another big chunk of money till next year.
I know. Another 1.5 next year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I might want to look at it for our next meeting, the vacancy rate that we have and versus our budget, what has been approved for this year, to see if all those vacancy positions would be filled, how it would affect our budget.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we are moving forward trying to hire people and fill in those vacancies.
Yeah, I think the police have not, it's been a long time since we had a full police force. And we are maybe 1 or 2 police officers short. So,
I think we just hired 3 or 4 in the past month.
so we're good.
Okay. Is there any other questions on the October finance report? Anybody? No? Okay. With that, since they were really, it's just for discussion. If you want us to make a recommendation next time, Mr. Vaqueras, put it as a request for recommendation to mayor and council. But this
Okay.
is a budget that's going on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Okay, so next time I would recommend that you put it on here as a approval of budget recommendation to mayor and council.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. One last thing, as mayor and council had an item on the agenda there to have all committees that don't apply to OMA to be on virtual meetings instead of live meetings. So I guess there's a lot of talk about people dropping out of some committees because they don't want to be seen virtually, which I don't know. I mean, that's neither here or there, I guess. But either way, mayor and council discussed the issue about in-person meetings and about virtual meetings. So the ones that are required to have meetings by OMA live and recorded for the public's view, they're going to continue to do that. And the rest of them, there's 11 and 11. And the other 11 that don't really have to be on following those rules will just continue doing what they're doing on virtual meetings. And we'll relook at the in January 1st, we'll relook at that and see where we're at with the numbers of COVID and stuff like that. And if it's safer to come back to live meetings, I mean, we'll do that. We'll take action at that time. But in order for us to have our meetings before the council meetings, like right this one, any recommendations we make here will go on Wednesday's recommendations to mayor and council. The time frame we had worked around 3 o'clock, but there's other meetings, another meeting that's going on at 3 o'clock over there because that was already voted on by mayor and council that those meetings would happen monthly at certain times. So we couldn't bump them out. So I don't know how you guys feel about the 2 o'clock that we're doing now and the Monday before the Wednesday meeting. So
Does Tuesday 3:30 work at all for the other members? No? Yeah, I'm okay with that on Monday at 2 myself. It's a little hard to do on Mondays afternoons, but try it.
alrighty. Well, anybody have anything else? Nada? Okay. With that, I will ask for adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Anybody
I
wants to
make
go
a
home?
motion to adjourn.
Ms. Maynes, second.
A second.
Francine. Mr. Franken don't want to go home now.
All right.
Hand down, Mr. Franken.
I'm good. All 30.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none? Meeting's adjourned. We'll see you next month. Vaqueros, do you have that date handy? Monday, 2 o'clock. The second Monday of the month?
Third.
Would be the 13th
It
of
would be the
December.
third. It's the third Monday, correct?
The third Monday or second?
This
What
is
are we
the
doing?
third. We're meeting on the third now.
Okay, yeah, well then it's the third.
Maybe the 20th?
Is it the 20th or is it,
The 20th.
so the city council meeting's the 22nd?
Okay. So then it's on the 20th. Then we'll meet again.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All righty.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.